Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.
Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world,
time! 3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayla's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! America! They got a football team now!
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Friday. Todd Leary with us to start things off, and who gives a fuck, right? Just messing with you. Look at that look. We're not on radio today. It's just YouTube only. So I just wanted to see the expression on your face. I've been wanting to do that. I've been thinking about that. Welcome aboard, and Big Ten tournament well underway, as is all of the others. You've been able to catch much of it?
First of all, you know better than to give me a license to say whatever I want. Second of all, yeah, look at how tired I look. I was up watching tournament week, Big Ten tournament week, or I guess all conference tournament weeks. I stay up way later than I normally do. So, yeah, I watched almost all of it yesterday.
Yeah, and it was a long day, of course, starting off with Oregon, Indiana, which it did not go the way Indiana fans would like to see, but it was a chalk day. Every team that was supposed to win won. Oregon beat Indiana. Wisconsin beat Northwestern. Illinois beat Iowa, and Purdue beat USC. So it's pretty much what you would expect. Now we move into the bigger games, baby. The big boys play. But before we get to that, I thought Indiana might sneak in as the last team in. But a lot of indications now is, whoop, you're out.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that, because I kind of thought that Ohio State game on senior day was kind of a play-in game, and I thought one of those teams would get in for sure. I think North Carolina winning yesterday hurt, Texas winning yesterday hurt Indiana's chances. But, I don't know. Like, I'm surprised by those projections, because I still thought that they would be in. And so I'm just not letting myself believe it or not. But, that would definitely stink if that game knocked them out.
Well, and then the next question comes to, do they go to the Crown tournament, which is the one out in Las Vegas? A lot of people, I don't think so either, but
nope. You're
supposed to be required to play in it if you're the first two available teams, which would be Indiana and Ohio State. But I think Indiana might ask for a waiver to not play in it because of the coaching situation. Because if you're going to play in the NCAA tournament, why wouldn't you play in the Crown? But it will be interesting to see. The Crown's out in Las Vegas. And it's
maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe the players would want to do it. Maybe.
Well, I don't think so. I agree with you, but I think
why that's probably not the case is because there's now, with the way college basketball is, there's probably money involved. They probably get
absolutely
paid to go play in it. So yeah, they probably I take that back. They probably would want to go play in it, because I'm assuming, or I'm probably educated guessing, that there's money involved in it. So yeah, you would take a free trip out to Vegas and go play some more basketball games. And, it's just, if it's not the NCAA, I've always felt this way about the NIT. I mean, if it's not the NCAA tournament, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to sweat whether they win or lose any games out there. And then what do coaches do? Do they play weird lineups? In this case, in the past, coaches would probably use it to maybe play their younger guys or guys who didn't get as much playing time to see what they've got coming back for next year. But that's obviously, one, not going to be the case with IU, but two, it's not the case in all of college basketball because most guys are going to hit the transfer portal the second they have the opportunity just to test the market and see what's out there.
I'm not. Are your bookshelves sagging? Am I missing something?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know either.
but I'm in for the GoFundMe. I'll take the GoFundMe page, but I don't know what you want me to do with my.
Matt wants to suggest that we get Todd a new bookshelf.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm trying to look to see if it's sagging or something.
Bookshelf.
I don't see.
I'm a fan of my bookshelf.
I
like to show off all the books that I haven't read.
You have not read.
Yeah.
Yes. Todd Tanis says he's having been a back of house kitchen employee for 30 plus years. He paid in blood, sweat, and tears to earn that license to say what he is feeling and thinking. There you go, brother. Have at it. Brad, like to see you on here as well, but they should be out, and probably they never deserve to actually be in the tournament. I don't think if this were a normal year, it's a very, very, very soft and even softer yet bubble right now. And they wouldn't be in a normal year. I mean, what are they, 18 and 14?
I don't know. I mean, the way the season started, totally agree with you, all the way up through, then they winning at Michigan State. I mean, honestly, that might be the one that maybe gets them in. If they get in, I think that road win, because you're talking about a team that, if Michigan State can get to the finals of the Big Ten tournament, I mean, they're probably going to be a 2 seed, maybe a 3 seed. But I mean, and you beat that team on the road at their place when they were playing well. So I don't know. I don't disagree with any of those comments. I don't think that they've played well enough to get in. I think there's probably the 14th team in the SEC has played better than Indiana has. And so, I mean, I don't think that they've done enough to get in, but the way things were playing out, it certainly looked like they were going to. And now at this point, I think I'd be surprised if they didn't get in.
Brad says it was great to see Todd working with Trent yesterday. Did I miss something?
Yeah, I went down and worked with. He's home for spring break, so I went down and worked with him a little bit. And I mean, heck, he's playing great. He's shooting great. I hopefully was hoping to just maybe make sure that he's still solid about Indiana, which he is. He's 100% in on Indiana, no matter who the coach is going to be. And so that's a great feeling. This is one of those kids that you have to have, that you want to have. Like, I mean, Trent Sisley is a winner. He wants to win. His number one goal in everything he does is winning. It's not stats. And, that's kind of rare in today's climate of basketball. So, I was, his dad, Matt, asked me to come down yesterday, or, we kind of talked about it, and he didn't ask me. I pretty much begged to go down there and play with him and work with him a little bit. So yeah, it was a good day. It was fun. And, he's going to be really good in an Indiana uniform.
Yeah. I saw him at the last home game along with his mom, Heather, and dad, Matt. And I believe his sister was there too, but he was home, and they're waiting to hope to see if they get into the national finals tournament. I don't know if that's been decided yet or not. I haven't heard an update. I know they were waiting the last I heard. Montverde.
Is that the one that's at HSE?
Yeah. So
well, I think that they're in. I'm pretty sure that they're in. So yeah,
that's great to hear then. Yep. So Matt will get, or Trent rather, will get a last opportunity to play in Indiana, which is kind of wild to think that he'll get to wrap his career up after going to Florida. So good luck to him. And I agree with you. I've talked about it on the show. He is the type of player that Indiana needs, especially right now in this coaching change.
Yep.
This could not be better for whomever the new coach is going to be than to have a Trent Sisley waiting for him. It's not that he's going to, be Michael Jordan next year for him, but he's going to be an all-around player, a player that you can count on, a player that's going to be here probably for 3 or 4 years, and someone who wants to be at Indiana. So, like you said, those things rare today.
Well, I always say this, and kids, kids fall into a bunch of different categories, but every single player falls into one of two categories. And I've said this for years. A player either feels like the school is lucky that they are choosing that school, or the player feels like they are lucky that the school is choosing them. Now, you fall in a bunch of other categories, but everyone falls in one of those two because the player either feels one way or the other. And Trent Sisley is definitely one of those guys that feels like he's lucky to be able to go and play at Indiana University. And in 2025 climate of college basketball, that is extremely rare. So, yeah, he is definitely one of those players that, you do anything you can, you covet, you do anything that you can to make them feel great and welcome. And I certainly hope, and I know the fan base will love him and enjoy watching his career at Indiana.
Absolutely. A good point by Regan. The crown doesn't start until March 31st. Holy cow. See, there's another. I think that Scott Dolson, if he can, will not like to have his team playing in that, because I'm pretty certain he's pretty far along in his coaching search, as in he probably now I think that they have to be where they're going to be.
Yeah, but let's play this scenario out. Let's say they lucked out and the coach that becomes the next Indiana coach is hired prior to March 31st. That would give that coach an opportunity to maybe coach Rice and Renew and some of those guys who are most likely going to hit the portal, and give them an opportunity to show them what they could be and what their system is going to look like and all that. It most likely won't happen that way. I'm guessing it might not. But if Indiana did have a coach prior to the 31st, I might change my mind on it and say that they should go play in it.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly see. Carl says, with so many possible coaches falling out of contention, does Todd still think IU is very desirable? Well, I don't know how many have really fallen out of contention. Brad Stevens was never in contention. Dusty May was.
We put him in. We put Brad Stevens in contention in our minds, and so yeah. I mean, I agree with that side of it. I just, the job is. I don't understand what people are saying when they're saying that some coaches might not want the job. Unless a coach is at his final destination, this is one of the top jobs in the country. I know their team has not been very good. I know that they have not been successful. I agree with all of that. That doesn't change the fact that Indiana has all the tools that it takes to get to that point. They've got all the NIL money. They pay the coach more than market. So yeah, it's a coveted job, no question about it. Most coaches are going to want this job. Don't worry about all the stuff that goes along with it. They have that at almost every school. You talk about the fan base and death threats and all that. I mean, you've heard that from every other school. Players at every school tell you the stuff like that. So yeah, it's that's just an unfortunate part of where we're at today.
Absolutely. It's a top destination.
Where am I going? Cheryl's got me pumped up today. Let's do it.
Go on, baby. Go. Roll Tide. Go Tide. Yes, Andrew Sisley does have the right attitude, and no one knows that better than Todd, who has been coaching with him. But yes, certainly he's just from a great family, a great basketball family,
solid as can be. Yeah, they're just salt of the earth people, and that's what. It's just fun to be around people like that. I jumped at the opportunity to go down there when he was home for spring break yesterday and work with him because I just like being around him. He's a good kid. He wants to win. And like I said, that's pretty rare. So yeah, I couldn't be more excited. I know Indiana fans, they might love him now. They're really going to love him once he gets there.
Ed was down at Montverde a couple weeks ago. Good for you. Brad says, what's sad is they're debating Indiana getting in. They should be debating what seed Indiana is going to be. Well, that's where it should be. Yes, I agree with you. Indiana should be an NCAA tournament team every year. That should be the bottom, the absolute bottom. What seed you're going to be should be the question. And hopefully the right coach can get them back to that. And now that debate is going to rage on. It will rage on even after this new coach is named, because whoever it is, there's going to be a faction of people who are just not happy. And I can see that, because every time I throw out a name, and I promise you there will be no,
right,
I don't want him.
For sure.
I don't want him.
For sure. Hey, I really enjoy hearing people's opinions on who they want, who they think it'll be, all those things. Dream people. But, it's a scenario that we all have different opinions, and we all think certain people will be successful. At the end of the day, we want a program that's run well and is organized and wins and brings in players that you want to root for and want them to play hard. And so, I mean, we want them all to play hard. I'm over speaking there, but we have to support whoever it's going to be. Look, there's people that I think have a very good chance of becoming the coach that I wouldn't be that excited about. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't that excited about Mike Woodson. And I only mean that because he didn't have a record to be excited about in college basketball. Now, I grew up a huge Indiana fan, so I loved Mike Woodson as a player. But as a coach, I just sat back and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to support it no matter what. Him being the coach, Dolson told me that was a good hire, and that was going to be a good hire. And, I think for the most part, most people gave this situation a chance and an opportunity. And it didn't pan out the way that we all wanted. So this next one's got to – we've said this. You can go back and listen to our shows, Jim, over the years. We've said every time, this one has to work. This coach has to work. It just keeps not working. So, yeah, this is an important hire for sure.
John M., good morning to you, my friend. Appreciate you being here with us. I'm wondering, too, if they still play in it, but Woodson doesn't coach in it. There's that possibility I never thought of. He's not doing any of the stuff with Don Fisher. So if he can ignore him, so why not just not coach the game? I don't know.
Indiana falls into, that tournament being in its first year. It's a little different anyway. So I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it. And I don't know whether I think he should coach or shouldn't coach. I don't know whether I think he would want to coach or not want to coach. I'm just really not super sure about how I think it should play out.
Now, Ed says that Northwestern has already declined in playing postseason tournaments. I don't know. I haven't seen that. So that's
news to me, but don't disagree with the, look.
But why would Northwestern decline?
My guess is because, one, they dealt with tons of injuries. Brooks Barnheiser being out for the season. And look, Nick Martinelli, their leading scorer and, one of the better players in the Big Ten, had just an unbelievable season this year. I mean, he's going to hit the transfer portal. And if he doesn't, I'll be shocked, because he's going to bring huge money. And Northwestern just can't afford to pay that. So,
speaking of Northwestern, I have been throwing the name out, Chris Collins, as a potential candidate, which he is potential. Everybody's potential. Hell, I'm potential. You're potential.
Until they say they're not, they're potential. Yeah.
Right. But he's, to me, viable. I'm not saying he's the second coming, but he's a pretty damn good coach. And he's had a decent run at Northwestern, where you have no resources, where it's hard to recruit guys to. It's hard to get the elite talent. You can't hardly get elite talent at Northwestern. It's very tough. He's taken them to their first NCAA tournaments ever. So he's a pretty decent coach. I think he would be successful in Indiana. I'm not saying he should be the guy, but he is a name that has to be looked at.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, you can sit here. I could sit here and I could give you reasons why I think he had have a real good chance of being successful, and I could give you reasons why I'm not really sure that he would be successful or not. Because
Well, let's hear some of both of those. That's what
okay. So yeah, you're right. He has accomplished a lot with limited resources. So given maximum resources or all the resources he could possibly want, I think we don't know what his potential could be at that. But on the flip side of that, I think you said it, and I think this is the feeling of a lot of people. Yes, you're right. I think he's a pretty darn good coach. I think the coach at Indiana should be elite coach. The coach at Indiana should be, super elite. And I agree with you. I think Chris Collins has proven that he can definitely coach. He is a guy that, has accomplished a lot with limited resources. And Northwestern, I've always said Northwestern's kind of the Ivy League school of the Big Ten, which puts them in a tough spot because you saw, if you look at Yale last year, I'm going to use them because of how difficult it is to get into that school and what an academic place it is. And they had, Danny Wolf that plays at Michigan now, and they had, I think the kid is Noling is his last name, that played at USC, really good player this year. So those guys all transferred out of Yale. And I mean, they did that because the opportunity to make the money and go play in big time games. And, that is what, I think Chris Collins has fought a little bit of that with Northwestern. It's a difficult school academically, and they don't have the NIL budget that, I don't know where they rank out of 18 teams in the Big Ten, an NIL budget, but I bet it's in the bottom 3 or 4, if not the bottom 1. So, yeah, Chris Collins is a name that I think you look at. I agree with you. I don't necessarily know that I would put him as a front runner.
Where did the guy that played for Tennessee last year, a great shooter, went to the NBA?
Dalton Connect?
Yes. Didn't he come from the Ivy League?
I don't think so.
Prior to Tennessee, I can't
don't
remember.
think so. I can't remember where. I think he came from a Division II.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't. But I don't think he came from Ivy League school.
Regional weekend.
Well, Seymour, that's always a fun gym to go watch games in the tournament.
But you know what? They have Jeffersonville playing, I don't know where, Southport, down someplace else. The
really?
Seymour Regional this year is like 1- and 2-way schools or something.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, it's weird.
I didn't know that.
I'm like, wow, that's a change. So, but yeah,
great. I remember going down there and watching Romeo play in
their
tournaments down there. That's a fun gym to go to, and it got packed. It was. I remember watching Floyd Central in New Albany down there, and that was a fun atmosphere.
Yep. I think they're Zach Zeed says, I think we are in now. Jim thought Texas could put us out after their double overtime win yesterday. I don't think that Indiana's in, Zach.
Yeah, Lenardi was pretty blatant at saying Texas wins, Indiana's out. With North Carolina winning, Texas winning, I mean, that hurts. There's no question about it. But I still think, it's gonna come down to some of the smaller tournaments. And, is there a situation like in North Carolina State last year? We all say the same thing. We all sit there and say, oh, this team's not going to make a run. Auburn's going to win the SEC, and if they don't, it'll be Alabama or somebody like that. You never know. I mean, a team like Texas could sweep through that thing. You never know. North Carolina gets to play Duke today, and Duke without Cooper Flagg, North Carolina probably win again today.
Oh my! I forgot about that.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg's. I mean, he'll be lucky to be able to play next weekend. Like, they might need to get to the Sweet 16 before he's able to play, because that roll of the ankle, some of them are worse than others, and that one looked like one of the bad ones.
That just gives me just thinking about it. If you've ever had it, You know that
You
feeling.
know that numb feeling that doesn't stay numb for too long.
Boy, I can just
It's
feel
awful.
my ankle turning under right now.
I know it.
All right, getting back to the coaching searches, Ben McCollum, another name that is really bouncing up to the top. A lot of people like him, a lot of people don't like him.
Sure.
Just like everybody else. They out of 352 Division I teams, they play the slowest pace of all of them. So you would see a Virginia, old school Wisconsin-esque type of play, but both of those teams
which
won.
that job is probably going to be open. So wouldn't that be just an absolute perfect fit to send him to Virginia? Like, I don't disagree. If you watch Drake play, they are as fundamental and disciplined as it gets. Like they control the game. They control the pace of the game. Well, they certainly try to, and they're good at it. And so if they get ahead of you, they have a lead in the game, you have a very tough time beating Drake. And so, he's a guy that has a system, and his players understand the system, and they run it really well. And so he's done that in 1 year of being at Drake. Now, granted, they had some good players there already, but he brought some players with him from Division II level where he came from. And
those have been their best players, actually.
Sure. Well, look, the Sturts kid, I think is his name.
Yes, he was a player of the year. He was second
team all conference in Division II and comes to Division I and is the player of the year. So, amazing situation. But that tells you the depth of college basketball in general. Like the difference between Division I and Division II is a small gap. And I think it's getting smaller all the time.
Does the style McCollum plays transfer to Big Ten basketball, to upper level basketball? Because you would have better players in those situations. But does that style translate, or do you think there would be some augmentation?
I mean, I don't think he's going to walk. It's my opinion. I don't think I think it's a system that in the Big Ten could work. Yes. I think it's a lot like Wisconsin used to be, not the Wisconsin we know now, but it was kind of that, just control the pace of play. You end the game with 6 turnovers because you didn't have any fast break points. and you win at the free throw line and all your players shoot 80% from the free throw line, because once you're ahead at the end of a game, you're not losing. And so, I think it translates to any level or any conference. Here's the difficulty with it today. Today's basketball is a little different than the old Virginia teams and Wisconsin teams, and you even saw Wisconsin's totally changed their way they play. I mean, they play fast now, and I think the reason they do that is because it's easier to recruit. It's easier to get guys that want to come in and play fast and score a lot of points versus the third leading scorer on Drake. I'm making this up because I do not know, but the third leading scorer on Drake, I bet, doesn't average double digits. I mean, I bet you they have one player that averaged double digits, maybe 2 at most, and the leading scorer probably doesn't average 15. So it's just not a style of play you're going to get the top 25 to 50 players in the country to even take a look at. So that to me is a hurdle that McCollum would have. Again, I only know him from studying him in the last 2-3 months. Like I haven't followed him close enough to know over the years. Like take a Bruce Pearl, for example. I can tell you a lot about Bruce Pearl because I watched him at Tennessee and I watched him at Auburn, and I can tell you a lot about a lot of different coaches that are on TV more often than that are in conferences that we watch more often.
That's Gritty's pick. She would like to see Bruce. I don't think that's an option, but we'll certainly see.
Why do you say that?
I don't know that. I really don't. When you have the number 1 team in the country, it's kind of hard to get him away from there, but he would certainly love to have it. I don't know that Indiana would go after him, but he's got a little bit of baggage, and Indiana seems to be pretty hands off to baggage, which really limits them. That eliminates Will Wade, who made strong ass offers. And so I don't think he's going to get a strong ass consideration for the job. although he's a great coach. And I think that Christian Watford shout out give him a shout out that he'd like to see Will Wade as coach. But didn't he coach his brother?
I think so at LSU. Yeah.
Yeah. So where he got caught cheating and fired. So that's not going to work.
But what he got caught doing is legal now. So, it's like the whole Kelvin Sampson thing. Like, when he got in trouble, he brought some baggage with him and Indiana hired him. It didn't work out great, but it also wasn't the worst thing in the world. Look, I in this coaching search, I promise you I'm going to be open-minded about it. I have some people that I would really like to see. Will Wade would not disappoint me in the slightest. A guy wins, and he's young. He's a guy that could be there for many, many years. Chris Beard has some baggage. He wins. He could be here for many, many years. I just think that there's a bunch of guys that we need to be open-minded to. McCollum doesn't play a style that I enjoy watching all that much. He puts a good product on the floor that isn't going to get you. I think he's a safe hire. I think McCollum is a safer hire than some other people. I don't think he's as sexy as hire as some of the other guys could be. But this is where I disagree with you a little bit on the people like Bruce Pearl, because Bruce Pearl's at a football school. At the end of the day, no question about it. Auburn, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, football schools. So Bruce Pearl lived in the state of Indiana. He knows that. He knows what Indiana's about. And I don't care how good the football program is, which I love the fact that they're great. Going to come across negative, like I'm saying I don't care about football. I love the Indiana football this year was so much fun. It was crazy. But Indiana's a basketball school, and that's not going to change. They could win 5 football championships in a row. It's still a basketball school. Thank you to Coach Branch McCracken and Bob Knight, but it's a basketball school. North Carolina, always going to be a basketball school. Kentucky, always going to be a basketball school. Alabama, always going to be a football school. Auburn is a place I do think Bruce Pearl would want to come to. I disagree with you there.
Well, I think he would. I don't disagree that he would want to. I just don't know with where he is, if he would make the move. I'm not saying he wouldn't if they were able to get him. I haven't looked up his buyout, and I don't recall what it is, so I don't know what that situation is like. But it would be interesting, and I know that fans would be fine with that. They would be very happy. How could you not be?
Some people would hate it, though. You're totally right. Some people would hate it. With social media today, we learn, like everybody's always had opinions. We just get to learn people's opinions sooner and faster and more often now with social media. And it does not matter who is hired. If it was Brad Stevens, some people are going to not like it. And they're going to have a reason why they don't like it. And that's their right to be able to have that opinion.
Yeah, and so, all right, who's next on the list of potentials that you think are really a potential candidate that we?
I think Brad Brownell at Clemson is a more serious candidate than. I mean,
really,
there are some people I brought that name up to that don't even know who he is. They don't follow Clemson. They don't follow the ACC. They don't know a lot about him. They don't know he's from Indiana. And he's plucked players out of Indiana to go to Clemson. So it's not like he's written Indiana off. And so I'm not saying he's a front runner. I'm not saying I know any inside information. I'm saying I think he's a name that doesn't get thrown around by the average fan as much as I think it might get talked about in Indiana.
Who's your favorite pick? I know I've got to let you go. So
I mean, I've been saying, and you know who I'm going to say because I've been saying this for years now, but I would like to see Chris Beard. I would also like to see Bruce Pearl. I'd love to see Brad Stevens. I mean, if you're going to ask me who I want, I'm going to stick to the guys at the top. Dusty May. Who do I think? I think it'll be Mick Cronin.
I would not be surprised by that at all.
I wouldn't either. Here's what I know about Mick Cronin, which is not a lot, but here's what I know about him. I know he checks all of the boxes that you need checked. And as far as I know, and from everyone that I have talked to, there's no baggage. There's nothing that you say, yeah, all of these things, but. So, the only buts I've heard are people don't like him. He's grouchy. And when I say don't like him, I just think he's grouchy.
I think he's pretty serious about what he does, and that sometimes comes across as whatever.
I don't know where he's from originally, but he comes across with an East Coast attitude.
Yeah, let me tell you,
Like
if he's
New
winning,
York attitude.
they'd get to liking him quickly if he won a lot of games.
You know how you cure being grumpy? When you're winning, you're not grumpy. I mean, you are, but you don't show it like you're grumpy like he does now in press conferences.
Yeah, I think he'll learn that. He's just tired of the season, maybe. But, brother, I appreciate you as always. I know we got to get you off here, so head out to your day. Enjoy the beautiful weather.
No, man, I'm enjoying the basketball games. But, yes, I am enjoying the weather also. I should be hitting golf balls, but too much basketball on today.
Yeah, that would be nice. But enjoy it, brother. We appreciate you. And we'll talk to you next week, I guess.
Can't wait.
Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.